For Me to You is a sweet but frustrating anime that goes over Sawako Kuronuma's life. Her social awkwardness, anxiety, poor communication skills, and preconceived notions by others work against her, pushing her in uncomfortable situations and becoming an invisible figure amongst her peers. She struggles to make friends. Even forming a single sentence can be a challenge. In the rare instance she musters the courage, she isn't able to finish her thoughts without people interrupting her and running away due to her looks, which I don't find intimidating, but in this universe she looks like Sadako, the main character of the horror movie that some of you might remember called The Ring. I've seen both English and Japanese versions, and Sawako is just too sweet to be compared to this. Sorry for the jump scare. A common occurrence in this anime is misunderstandings and the characters forming their own interpretations of Sawako's words and actions without confirming with her what her intentions were. Sawako herself fails to clear misconceptions till she encounters Kazehaya, Ayane, and Chizu, her first few friends who do their best to understand this social outcast behavior and possibly decode what she's thinking. In season 2, when the class was being assigned new seats, nobody wanted to sit next to Sawako, simply because there were rumors spreading around of, if you look into her eyes for more than 3 seconds, you'll be cursed, or something will follow you back home. Just crazy rumors, people saying nasty things about her, nasty things about her looks, how she looks like a cursed doll, or how simply just being around her, sitting next to her, will completely ruin your year. Just nasty nonsense. Her classmates even went as far as to blaming her for their homeroom teacher's illness, which, by the way, later in season 1, he does bounce back from it. And not to mention, he actually quits being a teacher and decides to take over the family business, so things turn out well for him. She had absolutely nothing to do with him getting sick. They're all just super paranoid. Seeing everyone's deplorable behavior, Kazehaya, Ayane, Chizu decide to sit around her, kind of defending her from all those shitty classmates. I call it the Sawako Protect Squad. And not to mention, a classmate who was already assigned a seat behind Sawako, Ryu, decided to just keep his seat. He didn't really care about swapping it out with anyone else. He was perfectly fine. He wasn't the type of person to pay attention to rumors about Sawako. He actually couldn't even memorize her name at the beginning. He's just a chill character. And actually, he himself has been misunderstood by many of his classmates many times. So I think in that sense, him and Sawako have that in common. So without further ado, I'd like to explore a couple of things that I related to and learned from Kimi ni todoke. Let's start by exploring socialization and its functions. Socialization and social comparison. What is socialization? Socialization refers to the preparation of newcomers to become members of an existing group and to think, feel, and act in ways that the group considers appropriate. Of course, this isn't always the case. People can act out of the norm, rebel against what's considered normal in society, and even call to action to change certain behaviors in our society. For example, the stigma surrounding mental health and the discussion surrounding it. Compared to the past decade or so, it is more normalized to discuss one's mental health and the struggles, or how we as a society have progressed our views on how individuals can dress and style their hair, accept unique styles. There are more examples, but I think these quick examples get the message across. I found an interesting story regarding the importance of socialization on the American Sociology Association website, and this is the story that they shared. A girl named Jeannie was found in the United States in 1970. Jeannie's father had kept her locked in a room from the ages of 12 months until age 13. Jeannie was harnessed naked to an infant's potty seat and left alone for hours and days throughout the years. When she was remembered at night, she was put to bed in a homemade straitjacket. There were no radios and televisions in the house. People spoke in hushed tones, and the only language Jeannie heard was an occasional obscenity from her father. He hated noise, and if Jeannie made any sound, her father would growl at her like a dog or beat her with a stick. As a result of her confinement, Jeannie could not walk, and her eyes could not focus beyond the boundaries of her own room. She was malnourished, incontinent, and salivated constantly. Despite all this, when the psychologist Susan Curtis first met her, Jeannie was alert, curious, and intensely eager for human contact. When frightened or frustrated, she would erupt in silent frenzies of rage, flailing about, scratching, spitting, throwing objects, but never uttering a word. Aside from not speaking, her lack of socialization was apparent in her behavior. She would urinate in unacceptable places, go up to someone in a store and take whatever she liked of theirs, and peer intently into the faces of strangers at close range. Although Curtis worked with her for several years, Ginny never developed language abilities beyond those of a 4-year-old, and she ended up being placed in an institution. Quite sad. This is a quick reminder of why everyone should do their best to make friends and socialize, why interaction with humans is vital for our sanity and survival. So, how does all of this information tie into Sawako? If you've seen From Me to You, you know that Sawako struggles to connect with her peers, but desperately wants to. Her lack of social skills interferes with this goal of hers, and she often finds herself asking herself if she's asking for too much, if wanting friends is a little too much for someone like her. Her low self-esteem beats her down constantly. She wonders if even making friends is possible for someone like her. She seeks to make friends, be a part of a circle, experience things that normal teenagers do. To laugh, to giggle, to joke around, to have inside jokes, to make memories, go on school field trips together, go and have sleepovers, go to karaoke together with friends, or any other stuff that friends do. And of course, she also wants to have girl talk with her girlfriends. She craves all of it, but she has a hard time seeing herself being able to achieve those things, especially when she struggles to socialize, struggles to battle her anxiety, and properly communicate with those around her. She can't figure out how to respond in certain situations and fails to pick up on social cues in a conversation or tone shifts. Sawako has always spooked her classmates from as early as her kindergarten days, so unfortunately, she hasn't been able to pick up on a lot of communication skills. She hasn't gotten an opportunity to learn how to properly communicate with her peers and proper social skills and how to respond in an appropriate way. She's also incapable of picking up when people are lying to her and feeding her misinformation like how Kuromi does and how Kento does in season 2. A lot of my friends tend to think that she's very naive, but I think that she just has a really difficult time being able to tell the shift in tone when someone's being sarcastic and when someone's being serious, when someone is lying to you on purpose. She just hasn't experienced these things, betrayal or friendship, enough in her life to be able to tell the difference between what someone's intentions are. At the beginning of the series, and again in season 2, she struggles to diffuse misunderstandings and clear up inconsistencies in the information shared between her and her friends. According to the American Psychology Association, compared with boys of the same age, adolescent girls are more anxious, stressed, experience diminished academic achievement, suffer from increased depression and lower self-esteem, experience more body dissatisfaction and distress over their looks, suffer from greater number of eating disorders, and attempt suicide more frequently. It's clear just by the first episode alone that Sawako experiences some of these things listed in the previous statement, which wasn't what I expected to see in this shoujo. I thought it'd be an easy watch, without having to buckle up for a ride where we journeyed into Sawako's anxiety and lack of social skills. If you hate the miscommunication trope, be warned, you will rage a lot while watching this. Friendship can be a source of knowledge, support, and strength, though it can also lead to hurt, depression, anxiety, confusion, and possessiveness with each step of the friendship growing. Sawako's immediate friends, Ayane and Chizu, of course, Kazehaya as well, provide her with not only support, but offer their understanding. After the first episode of the first season, it's clear that Sawako lacks emotional intelligence. Her overcoming this issue becomes Kazehaya's goal. He guides her as much as possible without having her form any sort of dependence on him. He wants her to overcome challenges presented before her, or she'll never grow and make friends of her own. In episode 4 of season 1, nasty rumors spread throughout the school about Sawako, just when she was starting to become great friends with Ayane and Chizu. What was the rumor? Well, gossip about Ayane being a slut, Chizu being a violent delinquent who went to juvie. Another rumor was Sawako was using the two girls as backup and Kazehaya was used for his popularity, so Sawako was a gang boss, I guess. That one clearly is the more sillier one of the two. Like, come on, does this person look like a gang boss to you? When Ayane and Chizu ask Sawako's opinion on these rumors, she responds by letting them know that they are so accomplished. Wow, they've done amazing things, right? Which, clearly she didn't make those rumors, but a misunderstanding forms between the girls. It forms when Ayane and Chizu question Sawako if she likes them. Such a simple question to which Sawako struggles to respond. She actually doesn't get a chance to complete her sentence before the girls mistake her for not liking them. In this situation, Sawako is so insecure that she can't accept the fact that Ayane and Chizu are already her friends and that they like her for her. It's the first frustrating arc that you encounter, but it does get resolved. Kazehaya encourages Sawako to tell her true feelings to Ayane and Chizu, to work towards mending the misconceptions that were formed. Ergo, Sawako is determined to dispel these rumors if it meant that things could go back to normal between the three of them. Sawako decides that she wants to confront the person making the rumors about the girls. Everyone can shit-talk her all they want, but she can't stand the idea of anyone else's reputation going down because of her. Sawako does get bullied while defending Ayane and Chizu, but luckily the two show up and defend her. The three make up and figure out that Sawako wanted to say that she doesn't like them, but it's a bit more than that. She loves them. If possible, she wants all of them to become friends. Miscommunication everywhere. I want to share the Salmon's stages of friendship with you all, because I think that this model can help us understand Sawako when it comes to friendship and how she finds herself stuck at stage 1, most of season 1. So stage 1 is when kids regard everyone they play with as friends, but assume that the friendship lasts as long as they are playing. Stage 1 is when the child understands that the other people might think and feel differently than they do. In this stage, kids see their friends as someone who does something for them, so it's kind of one way. Stage 2 is when the kid returns the favor and reciprocates things that are done for them, and tries to understand their friend's perspective. Stage 3 is when mutual support, respect, and understanding is achieved, but possessiveness might happen. Stage 4 is when the friendship reaches a balance where friends are free to see and hang out with other people. Reaching this stage can help prevent possessiveness. Anxiety is the most common mental health disorder. I myself have generalized anxiety and find myself relating to Sawako many times when she's over-worrying and overthinking things. But she's a little bit more extreme than I am. The excessive worrying and rapid thoughts can be quite exhausting, especially when I am in neutral mode and don't have a concern, but these thoughts won't shimmer down. I found myself overanalyzing or over-reflecting my past or my current or something that I said 5 minutes ago and absolutely overthinking what I just said over and over. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but I make it a big of a deal. With that being said, anxiety is very normal. Heck, I would say it's actually really good in some situations and helps push you to do certain things. And I don't really see my anxiety as a bad thing. I just wanted to know why I'm constantly over worrying and whatnot, Now I know. Like I said, I don't really see it as a bad thing for myself, and I've gotten really good at navigating it. I don't want to take medicine for it because I feel like it would be really easy for me to get addicted to medication for it. Sawako pours a lot of effort into containing her anxiety and really taking advantage of the heightened state to confess to Kazehaya in season 2. It's not gone, it's just helping her do what she wanted to do. Though she is hiding behind a door, she's saying what she needs to say. And I think that was a really good show of her growth in the series. She's grown a lot. She is actually confessing to the guy that she likes. So Sawako isn't just bad at social cues. Her anxiety makes things so much more difficult as well, right? Lisa Damour, I apologize if I butchered your name, ma'am, but is a clinical psychologist, and she shared this on the APA podcast. Anxiety rates are higher in girls. This is a long-established finding because when girls are in distress, they tend to internalize. When boys are in distress, they externalize. which explains why Sawako behaves the way she does throughout the entire series. She internalizes a lot of things and she tends to put a lot of blame on herself for things when they go sour, even though it might not be her fault, and just talking it out could really solve a lot of the problems.
So, breathe, girl!
Here are some ways to manage anxiety. Well, at least what I do. So you can share your tips and what you do in the comment section below. So I do relaxation techniques. I'll light a candle, I'll chill back, I'll try and read a book. But if my brain is sporadic, I'll try and meditate. Exercising is great as well. I've heard a lot of people say drink less coffee, but I'm addicted to it, so no thanks. I also like to journal. I write down shit, and I kid you not, halfway through my scribbling, I'll lose energy for it because I have to write it down instead of overthinking it in my noggin. And that thought, that overthinking, that noise, or that over-worrying just disappears because my brain's like, bro, I'm out. We're writing this? No. It helps me realize how dumb some of the things I'm anxious about really are. So finally, let's touch into the horrible communication issues in this darn anime. Now, I don't want to play the devil's advocate, but let me do that for a second, okay? Sawako is socially awkward. We all can see that. But realistically, I can understand why some people walk away from her when she's mid-sentence explaining something. I can kind of see myself walking away from someone if they take too long to respond to. She just takes too long to answer a simple question. Sometimes people around her are seeking a simple yes or no answer from her, and even then, she'll fumble. She wants to say more, but she doesn't pace herself. When Ayane and Chizu ask her if she likes them, she could have just said yes, and then proceeded to tell them, actually, she likes them more than that. She loves them, right? Misunderstanding would have been cleared very quickly before they even had a chance to form. When Kazehaya asks her if she considers him to be her closest friend, she could have simply answered yes, and then later followed up with what she truly wanted to say, that she thought of him as a much closer friend. I know along the way she was fed incorrect information from Kurumi and Kento, but a simple yes or no answer could have helped her out a lot more and saved her some of that headache. Sometimes other people's advice is straight trash. I'm talking about these two. But I understand, she had a lot on her mind and wanted to be more accurate with how she felt about her friends. According to the United States Department of Health and Human Services, communication is seen to have relevance for virtually every aspect of health and well-being, including disease prevention, health promotion, and the quality of life. That sounds cool, meaning communication is needed to establish friendships, relationships, function in school, work, your day-to-day life. We need to engage in communication. Unfortunately, this is Sawako's biggest flaw, and eventually Kazehaya starts poorly communicating with Sawako as well. In Season 2, during the Valentine's Day arc, the most frustrating arc in my personal opinion is when these two dinguses have the most dragged out miscommunication moment. Everyone in class that is close to Sawako, or who Sawako considers close to her, gets handmade chocolates from her. Except Kazehaya, who starts second-guessing his friendship with Sawako, since he's liked her forever. He wonders if she even sees him as a friend, if she even likes him. Of course, we know that she didn't hand him the chocolates because Kurumi tells her that she can't hand him the chocolates if she doesn't have the intention of handing them as a friend, which is total bullshit. Kurumi, you should shut the fuck up and get rejected in peace, okay? Obviously, Sawako fumbles to respond adequately when confronted by Kazehaya about if they are close friends. She's starting to figure out her feelings for Kazehaya and reaches to the conclusion that she likes him as more than a friend and doesn't know how to be honest about her feelings without confessing to him. So she has a much harder time navigating around this time compared to before these two were involved. Our protagonist overthinks herself into not handing Kazehaya chocolates, which then he gets butthurt about. It doesn't help that in Season 2, Kento creates more rift between the two and divides them, simply because he couldn't imagine Kazehaya dating a girl like Sawako. In his opinion, they're not a good match, and who the hell are you, buddy? Get out of here, nobody likes you. It doesn't help that this guy looks like the guy from Skip and Loafer, and that guy was pretty nice. So. Kento tears the two apart and fills Sawako's mind with doubt, convincing her that Kazehaya is just being nice, and the way he likes her isn't the same as how she likes him. Why can't people just mind their own business in this school? Ayane tries to keep it real with Sawako, getting mad at her for not handing Kazehaya the chocolates. The misunderstandings keep piling on till Kazehaya is forced to confess to Sawako, who misunderstands his confession. She can't fathom that he might like her, mainly because Kurumi and Kento have been filling her head with garbage. The whole season focuses on how poor communication can create more rifts in relationships, and how some people should mind their goddamn business. It's frustrating, but it had to be done. To convey the importance of clearing up issues with friends, making sure you speak your mind and express your thoughts, since people can't read minds. Hopefully this anime and this video has helped you see things from a different perspective, especially if you can't relate to anxiety and socialization issues, or you yourself have never had an issue fitting in a circle. Maybe it helps you understand why some people are really shy and awkward. I know I didn't deep dive in a lot of the topics that I did, mainly because there's just too much data to sift through. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye. Okay, I know I said bye-bye and usually I cut the video right after, but I was thinking of uploading videos talking about video games that I've been playing, horror video games and the horror genre. Would it be okay if I shift to the horror genre for a little bit? I'm getting a little burnt out and tired of talking about shoujo for a little bit, and I want to talk about spooky, scary content if you're all okay with that. So let me know if you're okay with that, and like I said, I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.